Hey, what's up? So starting again today, I have headphones on today because there might be a lot of noise in the background, but we'll see. If there is, I'm just gonna go with it. So last week, or on Wednesday, we started building these cards here, and got like halfway through. And so we're taking the cards that are here. This is the current build that we're in the middle of, and making them look like these cards here. So we did logo and title, we did description, we did, sorry if you can hear that screaming, we did the URL and then the endorsement message. And the next things we're going to do, so after the endorsement message, if there's any projects that use a tool, it's going to show up here, how many. If not, it doesn't show anything. So this is kind of like a slightly different version of the last thing we did before we stopped on Wednesday. So I'm going to start with that, where I'm going to look into this Airtable database here. And this is a linked table in Airtable. Let's go to stacks first. So I got stacks here, which is things that are built with no-code tools. And then you mark which tools you use to build them. So for yesterday's weather, which is the first one here, it has card, thunkable, and bubble, which means on the main page for the card, thunkable, and bubble software cards, they're going to say at least one stack, at least one project uses this. And the way that works in Airtable, because these are related fields or related columns, is that I get these extra fields here. So originally for endorsements, we used the comments one where we were doing total comments and it lists who commented here. And here's the stacks where it relates. So remote job page and virtual M, I'm not sure what that is right now actually. They both have Airtable selected in their stacks. And then similarly, I have a roll-up field called total stacks. And so total stacks here is what I'm going to be reading. So if I go back to these cards, so this is the single card page, and it's pulling into this list of cards grid. So each software on this original no-code list Airtable base is going to get its own card. And so we're on the card page here. We have the endorsed message, which I have here. And then below it, I have a space for affiliate links and categories. So I'll skip those, we'll come to those next, but for now I'm going to duplicate this endorsed message. So I duplicate and I call it stacks message. Now I mentioned this last week, but I'm going to change all these defaults, so they're going to look not exactly like this, but more like something like that. So that each line of text before data gets loaded in is going to be a placeholder. But I'm not doing that yet, so it's just random words. But anyway, now that we have this, we're going to do something similar to what we did with endorsements, where, let's see, we're on the page binding of this page. So this runs when the page loads, and if we ever refresh the list or anything like that, it's going to always run page binding action. The first thing it's going to do is bind the actual data, which is a built-in builder thing where it's depending, I have data set from Airtable, so it's going to bind that all up. Then it's going to refresh endorsements here with this separate action group. So this action group that I selected, or I'm sorry, well, yeah, that's for endorsements. It's going to be the same thing, but for stacks. So this one I'm looking at for endorsements, we're doing a condition, and the condition compares two values and then runs an action if true or an action if false. So current test value 1, or the first value we're going to test against, is a variable current page total comments, and that actually comes from this Airtable base here, because the way that we pulled Airtable in originally, every column in Airtable becomes a variable on this card page. And so that variable is different for each record. But when we're on the card page, we know it's always that variable. In this case, for endorsements, that variable is called total comments. So we're saying if total comments is greater than 0, do this action, or if it's not, do this action. So we'll basically just make that same thing, but for stacks. We can call it refresh. I think I called it something else on the projects uses, so I'll just call it stacks. So we'll call it refresh stacks and do that same simple condition here. Condition compare values. Only this time, instead of text, we come from a variable, current page, and it would be total stacks, I believe, which is this, yep, this row here, total stacks. So now it's almost the exact same thing, just different variable. If total stacks is greater than 0, do one thing. If not, do something else. So I just have to create those actions now. So, and the way I'm doing this is I call it, since I know these actions are always called inside of that condition action, I call it a similar name in the beginning, dash something else. For my own organization, you can do whatever you want. So this would be refresh stacks, it's greater than 0. And refresh stacks, if it equals 0, like no stacks, we're actually going to do nothing. So in this case, I will actually do this placeholder text now. I'll remove this and make this blank. And if it's blank, it's not going to show up at all. But then if there is a stacks here, we'll set the value. So we're going to set a value, and we're going to find this element, which is called stacks message. And I knew that because I named it over here. And then for the value, similar to the endorsements one, we're going to concatenate, which means put text plus a variable plus a data collection, whatever. You put multiple things together into one value. So I come out here and I go to concatenate. The first thing I'm going to put is the number of stacks, which is a variable. And again, this comes from the column name in Airtable. So that's total stacks. And then we say projects use this. So space, projects use this. So it'll form these together, the number, which comes from the variable, space, projects use this. And that translates to right here. Oh, and I forgot, actually, let me add that emoji in too. So I don't think you can rearrange these actually. So let's do, I'm just going to start over. So we'll do the puzzle emoji first, then a space. Now we'll come from this variable, which is called total stacks. And then we'll go projects use this. And then on the actual action of refreshing the condition, we're going to say if total stacks is greater than 0, run total stacks greater than 0. If it's not, we just don't do anything. I could make an action here to specifically clear it out. Actually, maybe I'll just do that because you never know if you get into a situation where for whatever reason it has one value and then it needs to get cleared out. An example of that would be if someone loads the no-code list, displays it, and then on the back end in the Airtable base, we remove a stack and it's 0 now. If it ran on the page binding again, you need to actually remove that action. So it's a little more correct to set it to blank instead of just letting it go. So I'll just call this refresh stack 0. And it's almost the exact same action. Setting the value of stacks message. And then the value I just leave blank. It's nothing. And then so back on this conditional, I'll just set that false. So it's total stacks is greater than 0. Run stacks is greater than 0. If it's not, so if it equals 0 or is less than, which will always equal 0, refresh stack to 0. And that'll actually, I can keep this placeholder here because that'll actually clear it out. I might remove that placeholder in practice, but we'll see what happens. So let's double check that this works. Just refresh here. It looks like it doesn't work because these also, oh, you know what? I forgot to call it originally. So just like the refresh endorsements, Actually, I have to nest the refresh stacks action in here. Let's put this right here. These orders really don't matter. The only thing is after the page binds, I wait, and then these three, they fire almost right away with each other. So now this time, so it removes those dashes if there are no stacks that use it, and Airtable had one. So you can see Airtable has 11 projects use this. So that's looking good. Matches this, except for the spacing, and this is a link to that stacks page. We didn't build the stacks page yet, so on the builder version. So I won't link it yet, but we know that text is good. And now I'll move down to this, support the no code list with an affiliate link. And in this case, it's actually the exact same thing we did, where in the no code list, I have a column for affiliate link. And some of these I have affiliate links, and some of them I don't. So if it doesn't have an affiliate link, I don't display anything. If it does have an affiliate link, I put this kind of little light gray pill shape that kind of calls it out. And if you click this link, I get paid. So I actually don't keep it on I keep all the main URLs, the native real URL, but just if there is an affiliate link, I give you the option. That way it's not anything weird or anything hidden. But I do actually get clicks from these and make a little extra money. So let's set this up. So I have a thing here called this is an affiliate message. And this is where I'll style this to look like the affiliate message here. And actually, I might as well just do this now. So hopefully this is all in one class, and I can just inspect. And so I have a class called card info affiliate link. And it looks like I have most, if not all, the properties here. So I'll take this, copy it, and then in Builder, I have affiliate link message, and I'll call it, just so I know. Actually, I'm just going to call it what it is. And now this paragraph no code list is like the p tag. That's kind of the base of all text. I'll keep that on there. Oops. And I'll just add a new utility class, which is basically like this, card affiliate link. And the reason I put card in front of it is because it's on this card class and it's an affiliate link. But again, naming is up to you, so that's up to you. Here on this card affiliate link class, since I copied that CSS, I'm going to go to this raw CSS tab here, just paste it. And then I don't need to remove these tabs, but I'll just quickly remove these. Save it. And now those properties are all in here. And as you can see here, this looks very similar. And so these don't get replaced yet. So I can actually refresh here, and this should look almost how it's supposed to, or how it's supposed to. I think that looks pretty good. Similar amount of padding. Yep. All right, cool. So now let's populate the actual message. So just like refresh endorsements, I'm going to refresh affiliate link. And then what I'm going to do here, I'll do this a little differently just so I can show a different method. I could do this exactly the same way as the other one. That would be fine. And I could do as the stacks one. And I could also do the stacks one like this if I wanted to. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this affiliate message, use the variable. Well, actually, I have to set the href. So maybe I can't use a variable. So I'll set the variable, and then I'll hide it. And then I'll do a check for an affiliate message that if there is one, I'll show it. So before I was checking for a stacks, if they have stacks, forming the message and displaying it. Now I'm checking if they have an affiliate link. If they do, just displaying the message. So slightly different, but achieves the same goal. And actually, now that I'm looking at this, I put that on here. Does that make sense? That might go on the container. Actually, that can go here. That's fine. So, affiliate message properties, it will say support the no code list by using our affiliate link. Actually, I'll do that with a span and an A tag. Actually, you know what? I'm going to change that a little bit for the live version so you can click that whole pill. So I'm just going to put this all in here. And then for refresh affiliate link, and so what I would do here, I'll just do this the simple way. You can do this by adding a class and removing a class if you want to hide it, but I'm just going to do inline property of display hidden, or display none it would be called, like that. And now it's hidden, but on this refresh affiliate link, we'll do a condition where we show it. So we say if there's a variable affiliate URL like this, I think if I double click this, I can copy this exactly. So if affiliate URL doesn't equal nothing, run an action. And the action I'll run is refresh affiliate link show, because I'm showing it. And just for good measure, I'll make a hide action too, because similar to the other one, I can just like run that hide action. It's not going to need it because it defaults to hidden and almost will never have to be shown and then hide, but that's okay. Affiliate link and then hide. And so right now I'm going to use some built-in actions, hide completely, element hide completely, which what it literally does is it adds a display none. So I'll do that on an affiliate message. And then, where's the other one? And then show is a similar action called element show that just it removes that display none. Sets it to whatever it was previously. And so now on refresh affiliate link, I could just say if current variable affiliate URL doesn't equal blank, then show it. And if it does equal blank, hide it. And then lastly, on the page binding, just like endorsements and stacks, we'll put this in here. And there's no reason I'm changing the order of these. I'm just keeping these together because they go like in that order. And actually the URL is above it, so put it like this. Like I said, I just need to wait after the data binding, the rest fire. So let's see how this goes. I know Airtable and Dalo have, yep, some, so they're here. So that's pretty good. And then the last two things I have is style categories. They're already popping in, so the function of them is done. Style them up, and then put the showcase message up here. So that's if they have like an examples page, it does the showcase, and then here's how the categories should look. So I'll do those quickly, and then I can see one of the first things I'll probably do after is make these heights match. So categories. Right now I've got the word categories here because when I originally was building this out, I just used it as a placeholder, but I don't actually need that. I'm using a list of cards for categories. I'll show you how that works. So instead of just typing it or typing like the category comma next category name, I actually use a list of cards. What that does is that puts a repeatable page in there. So I have a list of cards and I have set to this as the page category, which right now it's just outputting the name. But what that allows me to do is on this page, if there's multiple the categories come in as an array. So if there's multiple, instead of like trying to concatenate them into a string, I can just list them. And if I wanted to do more stuff to them in the future, like say I wanted it so that when you click on one of these categories here, it goes to a page filtered by that category. It doesn't do that today, but I could easily see myself wanting to do that. It's set up for that if I use these pages, because each page gets its own actions, etc. I don't have to go crazy, you know, inside the string, making different links, that kind of thing. So I have it set up that way. And this list of cards itself here, I can see has like a space. So this list of cards outer has some properties on it. And the default, a list of cards is a UL, so the default has some stuff on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say list of, actually I'm just going to call it categories. Or actually I'm going to call it card categories. And what I can do, it's already set to display flex. So from the list of cards outer default, and flex direction is set, wrap set, all these things I need. But I want it to be aligned to the right. So there's a flex property, and justified content is how you horizontally center things or horizontally align things with flexbox. So I have flex start, which was like align left, flex end, which is like align right, and flex center, or just center, which is like centered. And these are only for flexbox. You can't just do this to anything. But if I do align end or flex end, it's gonna push them to the right side like they were. And then I also know, because I saw some padding in there, that there's a default UL padding. So I'm just going to set padding to 0, and I'm going to set margin to 0. And what I'm thinking is that, so that's just kind of to default things a little better. So it's still going to look a little weird, but it's going to look better. What I'm thinking is that, so you can see it's down here, the real page probably uses an absolute position. And the reason I say that is I know that from doing this on Wednesday that there's a 2M padding all around here, but this is not 2M in. So I'm guessing that it's position absolute. And what I can do is I can just come in here, inspect on it, and see what it says. Oh, so yeah, so it's position absolute, and it's got a few different things like a bottom of -1, a smaller font size, opacity. So I'm just going to copy all of these. And this has a text align right on it, which I don't technically need, but I can remove just that one. So I'm going to try to put it, really, I could put those, a lot of those are specific to this text, so I might end up having to put it on here. But since textbox no code list probably isn't going to override anything, is that nothing even in there? So it's not going to override anything. So I should be able to put it outside on this list of card categories as well. So let's find out. I copied that CSS. I'm just going to come in here and paste it. And like I said, I don't need the text align right, so I'll just remove that. Okay, so now these properties are all in here. I come here, refresh. So close, but not exact. You can see they're pushed off the page a little, which is interesting. And I have a feeling that what it's going to have to do with is, so when originally no code list is flexbox, and I don't know what position styles are on each of these elements. And then this new one is grid. And so it kind of looks like this as the edge of the grid, like it's aligning to the wrong spot. So I can do a few things. I can mess with position, because when you do a position absolute and you say bottom -1, that -1 or -1M, that -1M is relative to the closest parent with a position property. So if its direct parent doesn't have a position property set, it's not going to go by that, So you can get advanced with CSS because of that, but it can also really trip you up. So I'll make sure that the card itself has a position on it, which it does, position relative. And then I'm thinking maybe this container category, if this would have a position on it, this might line up perfectly. But let's find out. All you have to do is basically put position relative, which doesn't change anything. I mean, as long as you don't have a position set previously of something else. Position relative doesn't change anything except what I'm talking about, which is the stuff inside of it will now be relative to it. Whereas without this, it would be relative to the card, which is the closest parent with a position. So I think this will solve that. Just refresh. And I'm wondering, okay, so that looks better. It's not perfect. You can see that's like, these aren't quite low enough, but also this spacing is a little weird too. So I'm not going to mess with this just yet, because once I add more spacing into here, maybe this will actually look better. But I did notice before that it had like a white background or like a light gray background or something on it. So I'm just going to look in here and see if I can find what that was. So I see this background color of white, and the opacity is what made it see-through. And what I realized from that slightly not intuitive, but this category page has a page style, has like the default page body style on it. So if I remove that, you won't be able to see it anyway because it's white on white, but that'll remove the background. And let me just double check this is still good. All right. And then I'm going to add in the showcase link up top. And at that point, we'll finesse the styles of these, the heights, and as well the fonts and stuff. And then I think these cards themselves will be just about done. I mean, we have to put links in when the links work, but they're pretty much done. And there are a few things like this link I noticed after the live stream last time. It's a default link class from Builder, so it's got the wrong font and a font size declared on it in pixels. So like I'll remove that and switch everything up. But first, let's add the showcase link in, which is this guy here. And the showcase link is very similar to everything we've done so far, but it's this examples URL. If there's an examples URL set, then it'll show that link. Oh, you know what I just remembered too? Before I go on to that, for the affiliate link, I forgot to actually link it. So these I'm not linking because the pages don't exist, but the page does exist. And I'm going to make it so if you click anywhere in this whole pill, this whole gray section, if you click, it'll go to the affiliate link. And since that's coming, that href value, the link value is coming in dynamically, I'm going to actually set it with an action. So on page binding, we're running a few things. And I think in this case, after we refresh the affiliate link, I'll do it inside of here. So first we'll do the condition, right? And then if there is an affiliate link, it's going to show it. So at that point in the show, I'll set the attribute of the affiliate link, affiliate message, and oh, you know what? I won't set the attribute. It's not it's not a link. So what I was going for is if it was an A tag, I'd set the href to the link. But instead, I'm actually going to just do this the JavaScript way. And I'm going to make an action called open affiliate link. In that action, I'm going to open page into browser tab window, which is like saying open a new page. I'm going to open it into a new tab, take them off of my no-code list site so they can come back to it if they want. It defaults to a page route. And so if I have like pages on my site that I want to link to, I set them here. But in this case, I actually want the value to come from a variable. Remember, it's that Airtable. And it's affiliate URL. Think like that, not capital. Yep. And then after root text, there's none. That you might use this if you're opening a dynamic page with a URL variable or something. But really, this is all I need. I need to open the affiliate URL, which is coming from a variable, in a new tab. And then I leave that. I don't have to call that when the page loads or anything. I call that when you click on the affiliate message here. So what I'm doing is I was using styles before. Now I go to events. And if you remember, I talked about this a little bit earlier, a couple of times ago, but you can see the default click event, change event, mouse enter, mouse leave, or you can basically do like any JavaScript event. I only need click in this case. I'm going to say when that message is clicked, open page affiliate link, and that's all we need to do. The only thing I'll add there is that in styling, like a link gets a little hand cursor. So I just want to make sure that this affiliate link is going to get that. So I change the CSS of it to cursor. It's called pointer. But Builder gives you the ones you're allowed to put in there. I mean, you can override and enter almost anything manually like this, but it gives you those defaults. So now I'll just do a quick check and make sure that opens in another window. Looks like it does. All right, and so now it's really, I'm going to do that same thing for this showcase link. So I think what I'll do, I'll just duplicate this. And we'll call it showcase link. We'll call this showcase message. And the showcase message, I believe, is like this. Yep. And so this is a similar thing where we put this up here. It's the, I just put it in a container for organization. It's the message, and it has a style, because I copied it, has a style of display none. So we can look at that and see that it's there. Oh, and I have to remove that class. It's good I looked at it. So before I mark it back as display none, I don't need card affiliate link. It's not what it is. I am going to put its own class of like card showcase link. So I mean, I can add that. I don't know what it's going to be in there yet, but I know that it's positioned up to the top right, so I know it's going to have some styles, so I can add that. And before I hide it, I might as well style it. So let's check what we've got on the no code list and see if we can do it here. So looks like this is the one. Oh, interesting. So it's a different font for that, which I never even would have noticed. So I'm just gonna copy all these, and I can see like it has a background in there I don't need, but like same as before, like whatever. I'll go remove that when the time comes. So I pop it into CSS. Don't need the background. Actually, I don't need a lot of this stuff. Well, I don't need the color maybe, because that's the default color. This font is not the default font, but it is the default for headings and stuff. So I must have just had that in there like that. And it looks like it's not exactly perfect style-wise, but it's close. Let me just check if there's anything weird in here. This is going to have them on all because I didn't do a condition yet. So I think for this one, actually, I don't want its parent to have a position. So this container here, oh, this doesn't have a position. Oh, it was categorized. I did that too. All right, so I'm just going to keep this like this. I'm going to have to finesse that, but because I think this is going to have to move up a little bit. You can see it's much closer there, but that's okay. I'll finesse that afterwards. For now, I'm going to hide and show it. So it's currently visible, and it's currently mostly styled, but I have the class. That's the important part, because in the future I can just change the class. So I'll put it back to hidden, start it hidden, and then we'll start a conditional over here. Refresh showcase link. The condition is if there's a variable, I believe it was called examples. I think it was called examples URL. I'll double check here. Yep, examples URL doesn't equal nothing. So if it exists, we're going to do something if true, something if false. So the true one, we're going to say refresh showcase link show. That's for true. And then refresh showcase link. I see that comment. Thanks. Yeah, the positioning is so tricky. That wasn't really even a full explanation. But I actually went through probably like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years, because I'm a self-taught programmer, like 4 or 5 years of programming before realizing that the positions were having that effect. And it was just like, I mean, I'm sure it's something, it's like 101 that if you get a CS degree, you learn, but crazy. But that'll jam you up. If you're coming into Builder, which is CSS heavy, but you don't have to know CSS, it's great to know a couple little ones like that position. I mean, that'll jam you up. So what I did was I created those actions. I didn't put anything in them yet, but I can link them up quickly. So if current page examples URL is not blank, we're going to show it. So I go refresh showcase link show. If it is blank, refresh showcase link hide. And then on these actions, I'm going to just do show. Choose the showcase link. And then for hide, I'm going to do hide completely. and select that showcase message. And then the last thing I do is just trigger that initial condition with everything else on page binding. And that's here. I'll just leave that at the bottom. So now it should be showcase links only if there's a showcase link, which looks like it's working. These three don't have it, these three do have it, and if I check that against the real list, these three don't, and these three do. So it looks like we're good to go. So you can see functionally we're all in place now. Everything's in, but it does not look like this yet. And so the next step will be setting a little bit of that up. And I've got about 20 minutes left. So definitely, I don't know how far I'll be able to get exactly, but there's not really too much work. It's one of those things, kind of like an 80-20 thing where you can get it to here like 80% or whatever very quickly. And then that last 20% is, I don't know if that's an 80-20 thing actually, but that last 20% is more work. So it could take a little longer, but I don't think it's too far off. The first thing I'll start with is I know that this link here is the wrong font. I just noticed it. So if I go to this link where I have it in the studio, it's got a class here called link, which I didn't remove. So all the builder stuff has default classes, and some of it I removed, some of it I overwrote. So for the default p tag, the default, which is like any text basically, the default headings, I removed the font family because I'm not using that, and I removed the font size and use ems or rems because I'm controlling the font size in pixels only on the body class. So in this case, and you can see too, like this has like the blue color for link. So I'm going to override a bunch of these properties probably. And the way I'll do that, just to keep some variety, is making a class. I don't always do this, but every once in a while I will, called like link overwrites. And here I'll just basically, it's kind of like a reset. So I'll reset font family. And what you can do, in font family, it wants you to pick from what's the fonts you have in your project, but I can just enter manually and do inherit, which will inherit the font from its parent. And then font size, I can also do inherit, and this one has it in the drop down. Yeah, that's so true about in this chat here about like it's crazy that it trips people up and that it exists, but also I've used it to my advantage. Like if it didn't exist, it might not be as good, but yeah, it's killer how much it trips people up, especially if you're new and then you get frustrated. You think CSS is so hard, like all you have to do is add position relative to something and everything would have worked. So for this links overwrite, I think for now that might be all I need to do. Just remove the font family and the font size, and it should just match everything else. Yeah. So that's good. And then there's definitely some spacing in here that we need to take care of. And I talked about this. I started this last time where I was flipping back and forth. This is the live version, the current real version, and the builder version. And to me, it looked like this live version was like slightly smaller, the all around, like site-wide, the font. And I was wondering where that came from because I know I haven't set to the same value. But it occurred to me that because I'm live streaming like a smaller portion of my screen, I actually had this live one zoomed out one. Because if it's zoomed at 100% at this size, these go side by side, which I don't want. I never liked it. Like that's too wide. But that's just how it is, how I made it originally. So I had zoomed out just to look better for this live streaming. And when I zoom in, the fonts actually are the same or much closer. I mean, sometimes, it's possible they're slightly different depending. We'll find out once we get in, but that's why they looked a little different. So I don't have to do anything crazy there. I just hopefully have to add in some spacing. And one thing I know is that there's extra space, or there's like, a lot of space in most of these, but these have almost no space, or there's less space. Whereas on mine, everything's even. So I have to figure out the best way to do that. And one thing I can do, these are all p tags for the most part. Maybe actually some of these are different in the middle, but these all have containers around them. So I could choose to put something on these containers that spaces them out. So if I collapse all these, I've got a showcase link container, image and title, then a description, then extras, which is those two things. Then the affiliate link, if it's in there, and then the categories. Actually, I'm going to rename this to categories plural. So I can actually keep what's inside of these default. So in these container extras where it's got an endorsement message and a stacks message, I can keep that spacing the same and add more spacing by putting a class in each of these containers. Or I could put like this affiliate message here as a p tag. I could put a class on p tags, paragraph no code list to add space. I could do, there's a number of different things. Since I don't know what else is going to affect what, I'm going to do it on these containers. But what I'm going to do is I'm only going to put a class on the containers that need the spacing. So this top one, showcase link, doesn't need anything because it's positioned absolute in the top. And this bottom one, categories, is positioned absolute in the bottom. But everything in the middle can get it. And actually, I think I might have put one on the image and title. So I've got a margin top of 2M on the image and title already, which is what pushes this 2M down here. And then the margin bottom, this might have something on it or it might not. It looks like it just comes from the H2 that's inside of it. Oh, that's a margin bottom 0. So it's actually that H2 does not have a margin bottom. And it looks like the spacing in between here might be pretty good. It's actually, the spacing all around looks pretty good. Now that I look at it, this is proportionate to this, is proportionate to this. But do I want them a little bigger? I might. Let's look at the same one. Yeah, I feel like I should make more space. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try this out. I'm going to go on this description. And I'm just going to do it inline first to see if this looks good in case. By the way, I don't create a whole class just to do a test. But if it does look good, I'll make this into a class and add it to the others. I'm thinking like 1M to start. No, I don't see that even, which is probably because there's already a margin 1M on the p tag in here, so it does what's called collapsing margins, I believe. Wait, could those containers all go into a single column grid? They could. Oh, I see, like an actual grid. Yeah. That would be. I mean, so yeah, that's actually a good illustration. So this in the chat, basically the suggestion would be I could make this card here could be a grid, and each of these containers is in the grid. So I could make them full width and then put a row gap in between. And yeah, I mean that's actually like a pretty good solution. And there's no, I think maybe that's even a little more elegant than what I'm about to do, but I might just keep going on what I'm doing just to show both. I'm just gonna look at this. I mean, yeah, this doesn't have any display. So I'll basically turn this card into a display grid and do it like that. And I would set the row template to be, well, basically what I want to do is set the column template to be one fractional width, so it's always full width, and then it'll just stack everything, and then I can use the gaps in between. Maybe I will do it that way. I think that might be a little faster. Good suggestion. So let me just remove this thing I was messing with here. And then on card, now I'm going to do this for sheer organization. I could actually put this in the same primary style class, but this way, if I want to remove this method, I can just remove this class and it's done. So I'm going to do this utility class, which is going to overwrite everything in the primary class. And I'll say display grid, and I'll say grid template columns, like that, which I actually don't even need to do that. I think it's going to default to that. Like if I don't have this, you can see it defaults correctly. Maybe I'll just leave it off for the fun. But like I usually put it in just in case, just to be explicit. And then I would do grid row gap, and I just want to see if this works first. So I'm gonna write 4M and see if it does stuff nice. So I'll do this is total trial and error. So I'm just gonna try 1M, and if it looks not enough, I'll do 2M. That looks pretty good. The one thing is the tops and bottoms now have a little bit extra margin, which might actually be correct. Well, the top one wouldn't be, but I can fix that. I wonder if that needs it. I'm not sure. It's also like more space here than here. So let me just double check what's going on. When it comes to space, and this is exactly what I was talking about. When you get into the details, sometimes it takes way longer than you expect. Like I was just gonna go do a few things, but I bet you some of this stuff already has some kind of margins on it. I mean, a default p tag would. Let's see. Just as a test, let me do margin 0. So I think just seeing what's making that extra space versus something else. What? Oh, these are in the same container, that's why. Cool. All right, so that's no problem. So really all I did is I had two things in one container. Let me remove, I don't know if I'm gonna need this or not. But for now I'm gonna remove that, and then, oh, I see. Description and URL just, I don't need them both, so. I'm gonna duplicate it and remove parts I don't need. Call this, and then check it. What the, oh, I just, did I copy the wrong thing? Or delete the wrong thing? This is a description. Oh, that's weird. It's weird that that happened. I don't know why it doubles these up here. Did I do that? All right, there we go. So they're out of order. So I don't know what happened there. Something weird happened, but it put the URL like up top, and I think if I just go like this and rearrange them, I'll fix that. That was strange. All right, solid. So yeah, so now that worked. Thanks, Glenn. That was like pretty easy solution to just add some space in there, and I don't have to go add a class to each individual thing and remove things and whatever. The only thing that I'll check is that this top is, I have a 2M margin on it, but now I have this 1M gap. So I think I need to make that a 1M instead of a 2M margin top. Actually, it looks pretty good. That's why I was paused, but I'm just going to do it. I think I just had that, yep. Just right on the inline style because it's specific only that one element. All right. So that's all looking pretty good. I like this. Not perfect yet, but pretty good. This still has too much space in it. So what I can do is on the, probably on the projects message, I'll just do a margin top 0. I might have to do margin bottom 0 on this one too. But I know they're always like that. So I think it'll work fine. Margin bottom 0. Does that not work? Okay. And then on this one, we'll do margin top 0. Looks pretty good. And then the thing I would want to make sure of when I do this is that this endorse message, I just put a margin bottom of 0 on it. I would want to make sure it didn't, push this up too close, but it actually looks pretty good, and it didn't. And then I think just from my naked eye, it looks like this could go a little lower and this could go a little higher. So instead of checking the original, I'll just do those manually. So showcase link, and I have this in here. And it's kind of funny, like as I'm getting through and getting deeper in, a lot of times if I wasn't live streaming and I were just building, I might like restructure, like every so often a project I might restructure. And this here with like all these extra containers, it actually works really well with the grid like we just did, so I'm obviously going to keep it. But like there's a time where I might restructure some of this because there is a lot of extra stuff and things change. So that's like another thing to just kind of it relates to builder, but it's just like a building note, is like don't be afraid to restructure and don't get stuck, and stuff. But be flexible, and then builder helps you do that because it's so fast. So I'm always throwing stuff in and then restructuring. Cool, Glenn. Thanks for watching either way, yeah. Appreciate you watching. All right, so, and I'll probably only do this for like 5 more minutes today. But let's see. So I went to here, and I've got this card showcase, and I have it set to top 6 pixels and right 6 pixels. Now that's probably going, so I've got this container, so I've got 2M padding inside the card. And then I've got this container here. And I'm saying that showcase should be 6 pixels from the top. And I believe it's going to that container, the top of that container, because this is not 6 pixels from the top here. But it could be 6 pixels from the top of the inside of the padding. What I actually want to do is make it 6 pixels from the top of the card. So what I can do, first I'll check this. This has no, so it must not be from the top. That's interesting. So what I'm going to do is something similar to the bottom where I did a negative. And instead of worrying about why that's like that, I'm actually just going to do it. Sometimes like it's good to really know what's going on. Sometimes like, whatever. Just try a new value and see if it works. So I'm going to try negative 1M because that padding is 2M. And I feel like halfway up would look nice. That might be a little too much actually. But I also have some other stuff in here. Like I have padding of 0.4M. So actually maybe what I'll do instead is go top 6 pixels what it was. Sorry if you can hear my son running around, squealing. And then I'll actually set the padding top to 0 and see what happens. Just see how this looks. So maybe instead of 6 pixels, set top to 0. Okay, that looks pretty good. I mean, that's at least set up nice in the top. And then it looks like the side has a 6 pixels on it. It looks like I can keep that, but let me just check what it looks like without that 6 pixel on the right. It's technically better. So let's do 0 on the right too. And this right and top, when you're positioned, you can set like right, you can set other times too, but specifically when you're positioned, if you set right and top, it's going to say like 0 right would move it all the way to right. Top 0 would move it all the way to top. You can do top 50%, move it halfway down the page, top 100%, move it all the way down, etc. And then I'm going to move these categories down a little bit. So they are set to a bottom of -1. So that's like if you had bottom 0 aligned to the bottom, if you have bottom negative, it's going to push it below the bottom. And it looks It's interesting that these don't line up the same. Maybe I'll investigate that next time, but for now, I think it was close. I'm just going to try negative 1.5. That looks good. And then this right, so this has a left of 1M and a right of 1M. But I think because it's a new setup is a little different than the original, I think these could be 0 and it'll still look good. No. Can't be. No problem. All right. And just as a trial, let me try a 0.5 just because I'm being nitpicky here. Yeah, like I think that lines up a little nicer with that. So we'll just do 0.5M. And like that's not even like skill or anything. That was just like me trying a few random values because it'll be faster, and it was. All right, so it looks like now we're in pretty good shape. These cards here are not going full height. If I can fix that in one shot, I will. If not, I'll leave it till next week. But I think actually this list of cards here, I think I might be able to do something on here. I think I might be able to say align items, stretch. This one. Didn't work. So I'll do that next time. I'm going to remove it for now. And see if there's anything else I can quickly do. I mean, I got 2 minutes on the hour, so probably not. Yeah, I think that'll be good for now. So the things that we have to do still on the card, even though they're starting to look really close, we'll take care of that sizing. I've got some stuff like the showcase link I forgot to make work. Making, the real one has some color in the affiliate that makes it look a little nicer. And I'll still make it so you click the whole thing. Looks like the font's a little small. Oh, this might be I don't know. The font looks a little smaller in there, etc. And then, yeah, the endorsement and the stacks messages need to be clickable at the time when the time comes. So yeah, that's really all I have to do on the cards. That's almost done. That'll be cool. And so I'll probably, will I do that next time? Maybe I'll do the height of the cards next time, but not worry about the links, and then starting on these categories. Because what I want to do is I want to get the categories done, and I want to get the menu done, and then I'm going to build out the other pages. There's not a real reason to do that. It's just personal preference. Like this menu, I'm going to include in a component, so I don't need to have it done before I move on. But I just want to get this all in place and kind of show like more of a one-to-one between these two, and then say, okay, now let's start the next ones. So that's what I'll start in next time. Just reading a comment real quick. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving too, man. For this CSS comment in the chat here, it seems crazy, like all the CSS, and it is kind of. I mean, I've been doing CSS for like 15 years or whatever, and it still is crazy. But actually, it's not that bad because you can Google everything, and when you Google stuff, well, Stack Overflow is going to have a bunch of stuff. CSS Tricks, like CSS-Tricks, is going to have a ton of great CSS info. And then you can also come into any website and inspect element and copy CSS. So if you see something that looks good, you can come in here and inspect all the elements around it. And at first, it's still going to be hard. Like you're still going to have to do a bunch of stuff to figure out what's what and what CSS is affecting other stuff. But doing this for a little bit, you really do start to learn quickly and learn the kind of like the pitfalls and the little cheats, the little secrets you can do. So it gets much easier. But yeah, I mean, I understand the comment about CSS causing the brain to melt for sure. And I think the other thing is I'm doing this with a lot of CSS because I know CSS. If you don't know CSS, you don't actually have to do that much. Like in these properties where I'm going new property and adding it, I could instead be on all props here for every element. And instead of having to know what a property is, I can just look through these sections and like a layout property. We've got all the displays, all the flexes, flex child. So there's so much in here that I can, if I don't know what a property is, I can find it. Here's all the margins and paddings, sizes. So you get the idea. But that might be a little easier. I actually find it's harder because there's so much to look through when I almost always know what I want. But I expected I would always be in here in the CSS view and typing it, and I realized that I actually love this kind of hybrid instead, where I'm choosing the property I want and I'm setting it here, and sometimes I'm just typing it instead of choosing from a GUI, but it's kind of a nice in between. Yeah, glad to see that. Oh, because yeah, I think all props is like I think everyone at Builder, we all forget to show people that, because that is like the entry point basically. And then for me, and I did start on this when I started in Builder, but then I quickly moved into this use props. So cool. Yeah, I'll end it for now. Don't think I need anything else. I'll be back. Actually, you know what? I'm going to skip Monday too. I'm going to be out of the office Monday. So I'll be back on Wednesday, 1 p.m. Austin time, Central US time, or 7 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. See you then. Thanks for watching.